Okay, good evening, dear friends. We're continuing in Daf Hashavua, Masechta Nedarim, Daf Chavdalid Amud Aleph. Here we go. The Mishnah said on Chav Gimel Amud Aleph that Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says that if you want to be madir your friend, you want to encourage your friend to eat by you, you could do something called nidrei's reason, which is basically a neder, which is not really chal. It's not chal. It's just a way of encouraging your friend to eat by you. It's not effective. You don't even have to do hataras nedarim. You don't have to do hafaras nedarim. It's just not chal. So Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, Af haroitza lahader es chaveroi sheyochel etzlo yomer loi. You could just say, you better eat by me. So Gemara has a shaila. We're 2 lines from the bottom on Chav Gimel Amud Beis. Iboilahu. Pligi Rabbanan alei Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov oilai. Do the Rabbanan argue on Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov or not? Meaning, do the Rabbanan say maybe this neder is chal? If you tell your friend, if you don't eat by me, I'm asering hana on you. Maybe that neder the Rabbanan hold is chal. The imtim tzleimer pligi. If the Rabbanan argue, hilchos kavasei oilai, is the halacha like him or not? In other words, if the Rabbanan argue on Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, is the halacha like the Rabbanan or like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov? That's the question. Says the Rani, Boiluhu, Pligi Rabbanan alei Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov oiloi. It's the bottom 2 lines in the Ran on Chav Gimel Amud Beis. De'ikol esvuke b'hachi. You could question this. Mishum dedilma, because maybe ad kan like kamri Rabbanan did nidrei's reason have. When do the Rabbanan say that something is nidrei's reason? Maybe that's only by a buyer and seller, she'ein piyam v'libam shavim, where they don't mean what they're saying. So if they don't mean what they're saying, there the neder is not chal. They originally wanted 3 from the beginning. Maybe only by buyer and seller there's a concept of nidrei's reason. If you really want your friend to eat by you, you mean it. You mean you better eat by me, otherwise I'm answering you by hana. If you're making a neder against your friend that he should eat by you, you could say, you're mader him bedavka. So that's the question. We know Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says nidrei's reason applies by a meal, but do the Rabbanan argue or do the Rabbanan not argue? That's the question. Do the Rabbanan argue or not? Okay, says the Gemara, Tashma, come in here. Kainam she'eni nanela. I'm sorry. Ha'omer l'chaveroi. One who says to his friend, Kainam she'eni nanelach. I make a neder that I'm not going to get hana from you. The Ran says, Kainam ashani nanem shalcha. I make a neder I'm not going to get hana from you. Im iyatanoita lebencha, unless you take for your son kar shel chitin, a kar of wheat, or shtei chavir shel yayin, and 2 barrels of wine. Basically, you want to give your friend a gift, and you say, I'm not going to get hana from you if I can't give you hana. The way I want to give you hana is by giving it to your son. So I'm able to be mater the neder without a chacham, because the friend could say, look, your friend could say to him, Klum amarta ela b'shvil kloidi. You only said that you want to give me a gift and that you're answering me from hana, unless you accept my gift for your son, ela b'shvil kvaidi, only for my honor. Zehu kvaidi. But the friend says, refusing the gift is my honor. The only reason you said that I aser hana from you, unless you accept my gift, is you wanted to honor me by giving me a gift. But I'm telling you that it's my honor not to accept the gift. So let's make a diak. The reason why the neder is not chal is why? Because the friend says, you made the neder to honor me, you honored me, I refused the get. Taima The reason why the neder is not chal the amar, because the friend says, Zehu kvaidi, this is my honor to refuse the get. Halav hachi, but if he wouldn't say this is my honor, nederhu, it's a good neder. Mani, who does the Mishnah go like? It can't be Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says that the neder is stam not chal, even if the friend doesn't say that the only reason you made the neder is to honor me, and you've already honored me. We don't need that reason why it's not chal. According to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, it's not chal because it's nidrei's reason. You're just trying to encourage me to accept the gift. Nidrei's reason, have Elishmamina pligi Rabbanale. We see the Rabbanan argue. Look at the Ran. Klum amarta elamemnei kvaidi, ze kvaidi. She'eskabed al yadcha. You want me to be honored b'fnei habriyos. Sheyiru she'ani chasha beinecha. You want to honor me by showing people that I'm chashav in your eyes. She'ata roitza litin limatana, that you want to give me a gift. No, the friend says, Zeh kvaidi, this is my honor. She'eskabed yoiser, I am more honored. Kishayiru she'ata roitza litin, I'm more honored when people see that you want to give. Va'ani eini roitza l'kabel, and I don't want to receive. So, but let's think for a moment. The reason the neder is not chal is because you said the neder is, I will not get hana unless I honor you by giving you the gift. But if the friend turns around and says, I'm more honored by refusing the gift, so the neder is not chal. But that implies that without that reason, the neder is chal. But doesn't Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov say the neder isn't chal because it's nidrei's reason? So we see the chachamim argue. Says Gemara, no, la'olam Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Really, it's Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov who says nidrei's reason is not chal. If it's Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov who says nidrei's reason is not chal, why would this neder have been chal? Umayde Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov b'hai the nidra havi. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov would be moide here that it's a neder. Why? Because in this case, I'm saying I will not get hana from you unless you get hana from me. Because otherwise, I'm like a dog. The Amar Alei, you say to the guy, I mean this neder. If you don't take this gift from me, I'm not going to get enough from you because I feel like I'm only taking like a stray dog. And I have nothing to give. The Amar Alei, Loi kalba ana. I'm not a dog. The mishanina minach v'loi mishanis minai. That I get enough from you and you don't get enough from me. So in this case, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov would say it's not nidrei's reason. You mean business. You mean you better take my gift, otherwise I'm just getting benefit from you and you don't want to take my gift. I will answer myself in hana from you until you take my gift. So that's not nidrei's reason. In the Mishnah, you're telling the guy, if you don't eat by me, I will not give you, I'm sorry, the lashon in the Mishnah is, I am answering you in hana unless I am answering, myself in hana. I'm not going to get hana from you. I'm not going to give you hana unless I could give you hana. In the Mishnah, you're saying, I'm answering you in hana unless you eat by me. So it's not about being a stray dog, because think about it. What are you saying in the Mishnah? I could say, I will not get hana from you unless you take hana from me. In the Mishnah, that's not the case. I'm trying to force you to get hana from me, and if you don't get hana from me, I'm not going to give you hana. Right? I'm saying I'm not going to give you hana unless I could give you hana. So this logic, this psychology of being like a dog is not applicable. Look in the Ran. Loi Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Af Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. It could even be Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Mishum da Amar Lei Lav Kalba Ana. I'm not a dog. V'hacha hu d'shayich l'meimer hachi. In our Mishnah, it's in this case of ha'omer l'chaveroi koinam she'eni nenalach. It's shayich to say that. Midnei shehamezamin oiser al atzmai nechsei hamezuman. The one inviting answers on himself hana from the one he is inviting. So you could say, Misham Hachi, I'm saying I'm not going to get hana from you. Misham Hachi ikal meimar, the davka kamar. I'm saying a davka, she'enu rotzeh lehanisman. I don't want to get hana from you unless I could give you a gift. Elam ken yikabel hu mimenu. Gam ken hana. Zu. The kor echad shel chitim. Meaning I'm answering myself. So that's plausible. I'm answering myself in hana unless I could give you hana. Delav kabahu, avabimas nisin, but in our Mishnah, echi shaykh lemeimer hachi. V'hamazamin einoy asr alav nichse hamizuman. The one inviting is not answering the property of the one who he is inviting. Adarabba, he's saying you can't get enough from me unless you eat by me. The Adarab nichse hu oiser lemazuman. He's answering, the one making the invitation is answering the one who he is inviting, that you can't eat by me, that you can't get hana from me unless you eat in my house. So there is no applicability of the logic that you're motivated perhaps in a serious way because you don't want to be a dog. You're not saying that I'm asr b'hana. You're asring the other guy in hana unless he eats by you. Okay. Now the Gemara continues. Tashma, ha'omer lachaveroi, someone who says to his friend, I answer you to get hana. You cannot get hana from me. I will not give you hana. Unless you give to my son a core of wheat or 2 barrels of wine. I say, I answer you in hana unless you give my son a core of wheat or 2 barrels of wine. So you can't get hana from me unless you give me hana. Give hana to my son. Rabbi Meir says, Ad sheyitain. It's serious. You can't get hana from the person making the neder until you give the menader son hana. Chum say no. The person making the neder could be mater the neder without the rishus of a chacham. Because you're able to say, I'm saying you can't get hana unless you gave my son. Hareini ki'ilu hiskabalti. It's as if I received the hana. It's like I got it. It's like I got hana. I'm telling you, you can't get hana from me unless you give me hana. You give hana to my son. It's like you gave hana to my son. Taima the Hareini ki'ilu hiskabalti. The reason why the neder is not chal is because you could say it's as if I received it. Halav hachi, otherwise nederhu. It is a neder. Mani Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. If it's Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov nidrei zeres and have, why would it be a neder? You're just trying to encourage the guy to give your son a hana. Elalav Rabbanan, it must be the rabbis upligi, and they argue. Let's see the Ran. Harenu ki'ilu eskabalti mefaresh the parak misha achsai in Gittin. This is explained. Dahainu taima. Here's the reason. Mishum de laharvacha didei echaven. He was mechaven for his own benefit. V'hala yitzrach, and it turns out the one making the neder didn't need it. When he said, I answer you in hana unless you give my sons a gift, what his kavana is, I want to be benefited. But if it turns out I don't need it, so then he doesn't need it. But the case is v'davka kishabanim smuchim al shulchanei. The case has to be where these sons that you want the person to give a gift to are reliant on you. The b'chihai gavna, in such a scenario, shaykh l'meimar, it's shaykh to say de laharvacha didei echaven, that your kavana was for your benefit. This way you wouldn't have to spend money on their needs. The case is you made the neder. Why? Because your children are reliant on you and you wanted to save some money, so you told somebody, I answer you in hana unless you benefit my children. This way I would save money from having to buy them food. And it turns out they don't need it. In such a scenario, he could say it's as if I received it. If the kids are not being supported by the father, it's the opposite. Then you want the children to be benefited. In other words, if you don't support the children, why did you say that give my kids money? Well, you obviously wanted your kids to be benefited. If that's the case, how in the world could you say it's ki'ilu hiskabalte? It's as if I received it. How is it as if you received it? You wanted the kids to be benefited. So how does it help to say it's as if you received it? In other words, if they're reliant on you and you're just trying to save money, so then you're entitled to say, I don't need you to help me with them. It's like I got it already. I have enough money. But if you wanted to help out your kids, then you can't turn around and say, no, it's like I got it. The purpose of making the neder was to benefit the children. B'chol she'amru heim hareinu ki iskabalnu hitiru b'neder. And if they say it, so they're being mater the neder. If the father says it, it's meaningless. Okay. So now the Gemara says, so we see from here that the only reason the neder is not chal is because the father says it's ki'ilu eskabalti, but otherwise it's a neder. So we see the Rabbanan argue on Rabbi Glatstein ben Yaakov. Says the Gemara, no, lo'olam Rabbi Glatstein ben Yaakov. Really, this Tana is Rabbi Glatstein ben Yaakov. Why wouldn't it be Nidre's reason? The answer is because in this case, we think he means business. He's serious about it. Why? Umoida Rabbi Elazar Bahai de Nidra Hava. Rabbi Elazar is moida that this is a neder. Because if he says, I aser you in Hana, unless you give my children a gift, what he's saying is, you're abusing me. I can't just be giving, and you not give me anything. Because I'm not a king. A king just gives, and gets nothing in return. I'm not a king. Says the Gemara. Taima the says the Gemara. Mishum Amalei Lav Malka Ana. I'm not a king. De mehaninolach, that I am benefiting you. Va'at loy mahanasi, and you're not benefiting me. This had an interesting thought. You know, of all the Ayamim Tovim, we say that on Pesach, when Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, we became Hashem's Avadim. Hashem was the Melech, and we became His Avadim. It's a concept of Isarusa de Le'ela. In other words, Hashem did everything. We did nothing. We didn't give Him anything. We didn't do any mitzvahs. We were Eram ve'Eria. So, of all the Yom Tovim, on Pesach, Hashem becomes the Melech. Why? Because He's giving, and He gets nothing in return. Like the Gemara says, only a Melech, he gives, He doesn't get anything back. Other Yom Tovim, the relationship is more dual. You know, on Shavuos we made some kind of preparation, on Sukkot we did Tshuva, but there's an idea that on the Yom Tov of Pesach we're considered Hashem's, so to speak, His daughter, meaning we didn't do anything, we didn't offer anything, and a king gives and gives, and he doesn't get. So the guy, in this case, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov would say, there's no nidre's reason, I'm serious. You better give my kids a gift, otherwise I aser you bahana. Okay. So now basically, we still don't know if the Rabbanan argue on Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov or not. Amar le Mar Kashisha breder of Chizr Rav Ashi. Mar Kashisha, the son of Rav Chizr, said to Rav Ashi, Tashma, come in here. We're trying to prove that the Rabbanon may be arguing on Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Nidrei Oinsin. What's considered a neder that you made in extenuating circumstances that's not chal? Let's say hidiroi chaver sheyochel etzlei. Let's say your friend made a neder that you have to eat by him, otherwise he's asking you bahana. V'chalahu, and the person became sick, or some became sick, or a river stopped him where he was going to come. So the case was, presumably, where the one who made the neder said, hey, you better eat by me. If you don't eat by me, I aser you bahana. And the guy wanted to eat by him. It just extenuating circumstance happened and it precluded him from coming. A river stopped him. So in these cases, it's not a neder. It's nidrei oinsin. It's not chal. It's circumstances beyond his control. But halav hachi nederhu. But if that wouldn't have been the case, if that wouldn't have been the circumstance, it would be a neder. Mani, who is it like? Rabbi Glatstein ben Yaakov. If it's Rabbi Glatstein ben Yaakov, zruzan havi. I'm just trying to motivate you to come to my house. But why would it be chal? We're saying it's not chal because the person who was invited had a reason why he couldn't come. But that implies that otherwise it would be chal. But so it can't be Rabbi Glatstein ben Yaakov. Rabbi Glatstein ben Yaakov holds of nidrei's reason. Elolav Rabbanon. Must be the Rabbanon who pligi, and they hold that we don't say nidrei's reason. That when you want to motivate someone to come to your meal, you mean business. Says the Gemara, no. La'olam Rabbi Glatstein ben Yaakov. Really, it's Rabbi Glatstein ben Yaakov. Why would the neder have been chal? Umisavrit the adre mazmina lezimna lezmina. You think that the one who invited his friend made the neder? If the case is, I'm saying, hey, I want you to come to my house, and therefore if you don't come to my house, I aser you behana, then it wouldn't be chal, because it's nidrei's reason. No, you know what the case is? Lo dizmina adre lemezamna. The one who was being invited made the neder to the one doing the inviting. The amarlei mezamli l'sudasech. He says, invite me to your meal. Amarlei in. So the guy said, okay, yeah, you're invited. So then the guy says, neder za'alecha. The neder's on you. Meaning, say that if I don't come to you, I should be aser bahana. So what are you going to say? It's nidrei's reason? How's it nidrei's reason? Nidrei's reason is when I'm trying to motivate you, I want you to come to my house, but I don't want you to come to my house. You want to come to my house. You're telling me that I should make a neder, that if you don't come, you should be aser bahana. That's not nidrei's reason. Nidrei's reason is I want to get something from you. But when you impose it on yourself, then obviously you're serious. So therefore, and he made the neder, v'chalahu, and the guy who was invited became ill. Aishachal ben Ar's son became ill. Aishik vunar, or the river stopped him. So this is an extenuating circumstance, so it's not chal, but otherwise it would be chal. Let's see the Ran. The Ran says, Mi savret adre mezamna lizmina, zmina adre lemzamna kolaymar, lav kidesal kedaitach shahamezamin hider lemezuman. Not like we thought that the one who invited made a neder against the one he was inviting. Otherwise it would be mutter even without an oinus. The nidrei's reason have it. It's nidrei's reason. Elazmina adre lemezamna. The person being invited made a neder to the one inviting him. Koloimar lebakashas hamezuman nadar hamezamein. Based on the solicitation of the one being invited, the one doing the inviting made the neder. The Amar Le, he said, Loi mezamli. Amar, he says, Loi mezamenesli, Loi tazmineni l'sudasech. How do you read that? Where he says, Loi what it's trying to say is, am I not invited to your Suda? Amrlein. He says, yes. Kalamar, Kain Azminech. I will invite you. Nedar za'alach kalamar, Asr nichsech, or nichsi al atzmacha, im loy tasakein. Asr your nechasim, or my nechasim on yourself, if you don't invite me. V'nedar hamazamin, and the mazamin was manader. V'chalahu, and the one being invited became ill. Hokach taima dechalahu. The reason is because he became ill. Halav hachi nidrav, otherwise it would be a neder. The lekal meimar lizruze ichaven. You can't say he was just doing it to motivate. Why not? Because sharei lo hayit tzarich lazari zoisai. What do you mean? He's making the neder to motivate the guy? Who's he trying to motivate? Shta'adarabba, who bikesh mimenu sheyazmenenu. It's a motivation. The guy is not making a neder to motivate the guy. The person making the neder is not trying to motivate the person to eat by him, because it wasn't his idea. It was the other person's idea. In other words, Nidre's reason is, I'm just trying to motivate you. But I'm only trying to motivate you if it's my idea for you to come to me. But if you're telling me I should make the neder, if you don't come to me, I'm not trying to motivate you. I never asked you to come to me. It's your idea. Let's do a tiny bit more. Tashma. Yeser al Kain Amar Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov said a little bit more than this. The first case he was talking about was, somebody says, I aser you in Hana if you don't eat by me. Now, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says more. I aser myself from getting Hana. Imiyata misareach etzli. If you don't eat by me, I will not get hana from you. V'toichal imi paschama. If you don't eat by me and eat hot bread, v'tishli my kois chamen, and drink hot water, v'hala hikbid kenegdai, and the other person was makbid against him. Now, what does it mean the other person was makbid again? Now, think carefully. This is very different than the case of the Mishnah. The case of the Mishnah is, I aser you in Hana unless you get benefit from me. Here I'm saying, I aser me from Hana unless you eat by me. You have a hot bread, hot drink, and the other guy was pressuring him. What does it mean the other guy was pressuring him? He says, no, meaning I'm not going to eat by you, and he makes a neder. Af ilu Nidre's reason. These are Nidre's reason. The Chachamim did not agree. Now the first thing we have to understand is, why is this Yeser al Kain? The answer is because in the Mishnah, you could be trying to motivate the guy, hey, you're Asr and Hana from me unless you eat at my house. But maybe in this case, you don't mean Zerazin, you don't mean to motivate, but you mean business. You know why? Because in this case, you're saying, I aser me in Hana, unless you eat by me, because maybe I don't want to be like a dog, where I'm just getting Hana from you, and you're not getting Hana from me. Even in this case, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, it's Nidrei Zerazin. Look in the Ran. Hi, the Amra Yeser al Kain Mishum, the Hacha Afagav the Shaykh Lemeimar, even though here it's Shaykh to say, Lav Kalba Ana, I'm not a dog. Sharehu Oisar Hanas Hamazuman Alatza, he's answering the Hana of the person who he's inviting on himself. Imla Yirtzil Kavmen Hana. Zu, Mishamachi Kalameimar, that would be a reason to say the Bedafka Nadar, that he's Dafka making a Nadar, Filu Hachi, Amr Abelazar ben Yaakov, the Nidrei Zerazin Hain. Well, if he perish there, now if this is the case, friends, that Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov is serious, that Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says it's Nidrei Zerazin, even in a case where you have the Svara that I don't want to be a dog, then when the Gemara said earlier, maybe it's really Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, but the neder is chal in a case where you have a svara where the guy's saying, I don't want to be a dog, we see that's not true. Because it's considered nidrei zerusin even in this case. So then we could go back to that earlier case and prove from there that the Chachamim argue on Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. But anyway, that's what the Ran says. Hashta, according to this Havamina, that which we pushed away earlier, that even Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov is moida, that where you could say lav kalba ana, it's only a dechuya ba'alma, and it does not stand. For lav kushta demosa, it does not stand. Okay. So what do we see? My loy hoidu loy chachamim. What does mean loy hoidu chachamim? Lav da'afilu b'kamaisa. Even when loy hoidu loy chachamim, when the chachamim say it is a valid neder, l'chayra, it's not only in this latter case where you have a svara that the guy's serious because he doesn't want to be like a dog, but even in the first case where he says you're asur and ana on me unless you come to my house, shma mina pligi rabbana le shma mina. We see the rabbanan argue shma mina. Okay, we'll hold it over here. In other words, when the Chachamim say, I don't agree with you, if they're only going on the latter case, then, well, maybe only in a case where there's a svara to say, hey, I don't want to be a dog, do we say the neder is chal. But maybe the Rabbanan would agree if a person says, I asur you and Hana unless you eat by me, then maybe he would agree that's nidrei zerusin. But the fact that they say loy hoidu loy, presumably it's going on this case and the earlier case, meaning the Mishnah on Chaf Gimel Amud Aleph. So regarding the Mishnah on Chaf Gimel Amud Aleph, we're assuming v'loy hoidu loy chachamim, that the chachamim would say that neder is chal as well. So we see the Rabbanan argue on Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov even in that case. Okay, we'll hold it over here. Be'ezus Hashem tomorrow night. Chav Daled Amud Beis. Shkayach.
Recording stopped.